I think we need to think about this. You know, the school, as always, has options, and there are many different types of schooling that parents can enroll their kids, and those options will be available this year as well. So this is a plan, and I think this speaks to people's anxieties, and we all have anxieties. We are learning as we go with this virus, but we also know that there are important things that children can only get from being in classroom settings, whether that's full-time, all the time, or whether it's some variety. So we are working towards that. Parents groups, teachers, administrators, the school districts, my office, we have all been working together for these plans. And they are in some detail, and those details will come out on a school-by-school basis in the near future, as you know. But currently, we have a framework that we are confident means will keep people safe, will minimize the contacts with a larger group, but allow those important interactions that young people need, absolutely need. And we need to remember as well that there are downsides about children, and there are many children who are experiencing those now, and we've learned that from the surveys that we've done. We've learned that from talking to young people across the province, whether it's increased anxiety, mental health issues. For some children, home is not a safe place to be. Many of them have not been in a classroom for, it'll be up to 175 days, and the type of learning that many children need in that classroom setting is something that we need to make a priority. And I look at all of the parents, all of our teachers. We need to work together to ensure that we are giving our children what they need come this school year, and that's what we intend to do. We absolutely do see masks in certain aspects of school being important, particularly where adults are together and where children can't maintain those safe distances. So that's all part of it. But no, we have no intention for making mandatory masks, and I actually don't believe there's evidence to support mask wearing by children in the classroom setting. You know, this is a common phenomenon that we all experience when we're going through something new, and particularly when it's something that affects our children and our families. So we need to take it slowly. We need to build the confidence that we have. We know that we continue to have low levels of transmission, and that is one of the most important things, and it's something that all of us need to pay attention to, because safety in our schools, safety in our workplaces, safety across the province relies on us having those low levels of transmission in the community, as low as we possibly can, and that protects all of us. So we will be talking more about this as we get closer to the school season, and as we get closer to understanding what it will look like for each individual child. But yes, we need to keep talking about it. I mean, we're all anxious. I was very anxious when we started doing surgeries again, when we let visitors into long-term care. But we need to live with those anxieties. We need to talk through them. We need to remind ourselves what we know, and that's the things that we are doing all the time, is making sure that we're keeping up on what's going on around the world and that we're putting in place the best that we can. We need to make sure, and school is such an important environment for our children, and it's something that we need to find a way to make happen in a way that supports them. We know that some children will fall behind and will never catch up, and this will affect them for the rest of their lives. It is that important for us to be able to have school, manage school, despite having a pandemic. And we've done this before, and we can get through this, and we will be working together to make sure that we have the things that are needed in place. I think we just need to set a date and plan for it. And it's traditional that we go back after the Labor Day long weekend, so it is a different tone to that weekend than what we see in July 1st and what we see in the BC Day weekend. So I think, you know, we just need to make the plans and plan towards that and make sure that we're doing what we need to do so it's safe for children on that Tuesday. I think the concept of the pods and bubbles are slightly different. So the learning groups are not the same as our family group where we hug and we have that close contact. It does maintain physical distance, but it means you're not being exposed to everybody in the school potentially. You're being only potentially exposed for those periods of time where you can't maintain distance to a much smaller group of people. So again, aftercare and pre-care each family needs to look at how that looks for them. It's a very challenging one. I know I think during this pandemic year, we need to really consider about some of the after-school activities that children may want to be into, and look at how we can do those on a much smaller scale than before. Things like we won't be having tournaments where kids come and play sports, or big music festivals, things like that people might be involved in after-school curricular, after-school activities as well. So I have not looked at the details of all of those things yet, but I know that the committees that are working on putting these plans together will be considering those issues as well, and parents will have to look at how do we maintain those important supports for our children, and if we're going back to work, and those the balance that we need to have. So it's not an easy answer. We don't have all the details yet, but those are the things that we'll work out. So I think you're perhaps not reading the same thing I'm reading, in that we've not said that. What we're saying is that the maximum that children may be exposed to, but we are continuing to have physical distancing, making sure, especially for the younger children, what we did in June, where you avoid physical contact, where you ensure that you have distancing between desks, that you do it in a way that children aren't mixing and mingling like we did before, reducing the number of people in the schools. So it is the same as workplaces. It's the same concepts that we are having in every other part of our society that we've opened up, where we maintain distance as much as possible, where we limit the contacts that we have in that setting. But we need to make sure that schools are a priority setting, and we need to be able to give children the instructions, the class, the type of teaching that they need in those settings as well. So it is finding that balance of making sure we're doing everything we can to reduce the risk, knowing that this virus is going to be with us, and we need to find a way to live with it and still have those absolutely critical learning opportunities for children. You need to understand that it's going to be different depending on the classes, and so we're setting a maximum number that would be in a bubble. So that allows, especially for the older students, we know that there's opportunities for different types of classes that different students will need. So to be able to offer at least some variation, you have the potential that people might be in certain classes, but there's ways of reducing that risk. So it is a balancing of finding how to do that right, and to be able to give children what they need, as well as being able to do contact tracing if we need to in those settings. And this will look different. For many children, it will be far less than 60 would be the numbers of people that they'll actually be in a class with or be in a school setting with. But what we're saying is you're not going to have the opportunities for exposure to the 300 kids that are in your school. We're going to be segregating by different ways in different schools. So whether it's all the grade 3s maybe, or broken into different groups. So that's why I can't be specific. There's 60 school districts, and each of them have to look at the ways that they can do it with the students and the numbers that they have. But we've set a maximum level of these learning groups.